Great. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and by the first order, I would like everyone to do a roll call. And when you do that, use your name and the county by which you are in. So, Ben Sugg, I am in Lathrup Village and Oakland County. So, Mayor Garrett.
Mayor Garrett I'm in Lathrup Village, Oakland County, here.
Great. Cheryl.
Cheryl Mitchell-Terrio, Lathrop Village, Michigan, Oakland County.
Pam.
Pam Schermeyer, Lathrop Village, Oakland County, Michigan.
Brian.
Brian Ford, Mount Pleasant, Michigan, Isabella County.
Miss Lovins.
Bobby Lovins, Lathrop Village, Oakland County, Michigan.
And then do I roll call? I don't roll call guests, do I, Susan?
You forgot Shyla.
Oh, Shyla. Oh, Shyla. Oh, there you are. Hi, Shyla.
Hi, Shyla Beltor, Lathrop Village, Oakland County.
Welcome.
And then
Alright.
you need to call Fred and Mark, even though they're not here.
Fred Prime. Fred and Mark Watts. No, there. So I need a
And
motion.
I did not hear from either of them, so.
Me neither.
So,
Okay.
all right.
All right, so do we need a motion to excuse them?
No, they're not excused. They
Not
didn't know
excused.
that.
All right, let's moving on. So hopefully everyone got the package. You know, as technology goes, it wasn't, you know, we have new technology in sharing the minutes and the agenda. And due to some issues, it didn't get uploaded. So it was sent out the old fashioned way via emails. Hopefully everyone has it, had a chance to review the minutes from last time. And is there any questions from, actually, I guess I need to get a motion to approve the agenda first. So,
I'll make the motion.
and a second. All right, great. And then roll call vote, Mayor Garrett,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Pam,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
Shyla.
Yes,
Awesome. And I am a yes, so that is a unanimous approval of the agenda, and then onto the
Before you
minutes.
move on, could I get the maker of the motion and the support again, please?
Mayor Garrett was the maker and Pam was the second.
Thank you.
All right, minutes, any questions, additions or corrections to the minutes included for the March 19th DDA meeting?
So I'm looking at the, maybe I'm looking at this wrong. It seems like I've been away forever, but I have none. Sorry, figured it out.
Okay. All right, any other questions or concerns? All right, so hearing none, I would ask for a motion to approve and accept.
I'll make a motion.
Brian
second.
and Pam second. And then roll call vote, Mayor Garrett,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Pam,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
Shyla,
yes,
and Dan is yes, so that's a unanimous approval of the minutes. So, all right, let's go into financial review. Susie or Pam?
I'm gonna let Pam take that one today.
Okay, not much has changed on it other than Susie was asking about the streetscape and what was taken out of there. The 5,700, and that was for the baskets. The up in the revenues, I'm on page item 4A actually, so if that helps.
Hold on a second, Pam. What page?
I'm on item 4A,
That's the
page 10.
Page 10, okay.
Because that's what I usually look at. Yep, in the revenues, you'll see that 14,000 taken out for the month. That I just adjusted because you guys were way over on your tax collection. The millage that you get, you were over on that, and I will have it better figured out next month when we get our reimbursement from the county, because they're still working on my settlement, so. Beyond that, everything else looks like it's in good shape.
What does that mean, Pam? Our projection was over?
No, it was just the way it was transferred because the money comes into the general fund and we do journal entries on it. And at that time, the deputy was doing the journal entries and they just didn't separate it. You know, they just kept putting it into one account instead of putting it into the captured DDA, the millage and the captured DDA amount. So it was just a
I see.
tweaking. So it doesn't look like you guys have a lot of money over in that tax collection account, because usually you're only off by maybe $70 to $100.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Anything else?
Just need a motion to receive and file if everyone's good with it.
I'll make a motion to even file, Dan.
Bobby? Need support for that?
Second.
Great. So that's Bobby and Mayor Garrett, and then Mayor Garrett in favor. Kelly, do you vote in favor of
Oh,
that?
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
Cheryl?
Yes.
Pam?
yes,
Brian?
Yes.
Bobby?
Aye.
Shyla?
Yes.
And Dan is an aye. That's unanimous. On the financials. All right. We are good there. So moving on to our favorite part of the meeting, our committee reports.
All right.
I might be able to do it. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can see it too.
Okay, not sure if my connection might leave at some point. But so for EV committee, we didn't have a formal meeting because it fell on Good Friday. So we ended up meeting with our graphic designer, Kitty Shark, last Friday, and we just went through the design process with her. So right now we're working on doing a workbook where we identify what we think our brand is, who the ideal business owner and residents are, and what our message wants to be towards them. So we're working on that right now. And then we'll get that to her the first week of May, and then she'll start working on the design process and it goes from there. That's pretty much it for EV. If you have any questions about the design process and such, I can answer them, but we're just in those first few weeks where we're identifying what we want our brand to be. Okay, all right. Then promotions, we had our promotions meeting yesterday. And we talked about what we have going on right now. So we have our Spring into Self-Care happening at the moment. So if you look at our Facebook and Instagram, you'll see different businesses about twice a week. We're posting videos, sorry. And it's just about them. We posted one today and it's about self-care tips with our transformative mind counseling group that's located here. And we also have a raffle for a gift basket worth $200. We're going to purchase items from our businesses. So if you visit a health, beauty, or wellness business, submit your receipt so you can enter. We also have the Step Up Challenge, and the weekly winners get entered into a free entry into the gift basket. So that's going on right now. Then next month we have our mental health event with Mark Watt's group. And then we started talking about summer concert series. So we're looking what presents can the DDA have at our summer concert series. So we started looking at maybe getting a table set up so the DDA will be there. And then we'll also invite 1 to 2 businesses to set up a table there, show how they're involved in the community, get them involved. And we're talking about different giveaways we could possibly have too. So we have people knowing like this is Lathrop Village, like a t-shirt maybe, or a sticker, stuff like that we talked about. And then also it's the Community Foundation's 25-year anniversary. So we're going to start looking into 25 ways to love Lathrop Village to celebrate their 25-year anniversary. So we're going to start expanding that. And oh, and our Juneteenth event is on June 19th following the art fair. We've been meeting weekly with our task force. It's been going really well. It's going to be from 4 to 8 on June 19. We're going to have musicians, possibly a storyteller, dancers. We're working out the entertainment still. And then we're going to have a panel full of panelists. And it's going to have Representative Carter, Representative Bolden, Judge Sheila Johnson, Youssef Shakur, who's a community leader involved. And we're looking to get a long-term Lathrop Village resident who can provide that perspective, a person of color who can provide that perspective about living in Lathrop Village, the transformation that's happened. And yeah, I think that covered everything.
Moderator. We need a moderator.
And we need a moderator.
So
So
if you have any ideas?
yes. And then, oh, also going off that, we have our patronicity going to restart our Love in Lathrop Business Relief. And we need to raise $5,000, and we're trying to look for ways to promote people to donate. So we have some ideas that
Involves you, Kelly.
it does involve Kelly and
Oh,
some of
there,
our
there.
other elected officials.
Got our attention, yeah.
That got our attention. We're
Yeah,
one
I
of the-
saw my Target app popped up, so it had to look there.
no, so one of the things, so last year, I don't know if you remember, I said I would do cartwheels if we got our goal. So I was out there doing cartwheels, looking like a fool. So we were talking yesterday about, so what can we do? And so we were thinking we have 5 council members and our mayor. And so maybe for each $1,000, we pie a council person, and then, you know, we culminate with Kelly because you are the most special. So
the idea of a pie to the face for me,
I know it sounds horrid.
not a good idea because I am highly sensitive.
A whipping cream.
That can go really bad quickly.
Just,
I think
hey, we're open to ideas. We're open to ideas.
Yeah, you can do a kind of like they do with the was it the cigarette smokers, the Heart Association, where you have people in jail or you have some type of something that someone's continuously doing to raise money for it. Does that make sense?
To get you out of jail. Is that the idea?
Yeah, out of jail. That's what I meant.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Okay. All right. I
Something
get
to
you.
that extent that would be fun, or somebody pays for, like Bruce likes to walk Lathrop, for, you know, he walks, you know, donate each mile there or each, you know, lap he does around Lathrop or something to that extent.
Okay.
I think the jail one is hysterical. That's fun. You know, people can kind of get behind that. Yeah.
All right.
You
Well,
think
all right.
what
So
one
if you
is?
have, what's
Which
that?
one?
The jail, get Kelly out of jail.
I never ever said my name at all.
That was Bruce.
Yeah.
Put Ian in jail.
Yeah.
Right. But I guess the point is, if you have ideas or challenges, like, please shoot them to Corey and I. Well, so we can run with it. We do need to bust a move on patronicity. Right?
Yeah, we have a grand total of $0 right now raised. So
Do we have any advertising? I haven't seen it actually.
it's just been in the e-newsletter and on our social media so far.
We definitely need to enhance the promotion of it, right? Like that's.
I will say that having been incarcerated for the National Cancer Society,
Cancer Society. Thank you.
it's not that funny when your day is interrupted unexpectedly and you could be in the middle of just about anything. And,
Oh,
Because it's a hard thing to say no to, and it can be,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah, I wasn't as amused, but I did my time.
Well, given the context that you're raising money for cancer and the situation that puts people in, I think it melts away pretty quick, right? So.
Yeah.
What about old fashioned raffle tickets? Is there anything we have that people would want to buy a raffle ticket for?
Well, how about, going with that, we could actually ask some of our businesses to donate some of their wares or, whatever they sell or time,
Mhm.
or a 50-50 raffle.
Mm-hmm.
50-50 is fun.
And
50-50 is fun. I never win.
I always win.
Buy my tickets then, okay?
Great update, Corey, and certainly to the task force and to all the committees. There's a lot of good stuff going on right now, and would suggest any of the board members get involved because, time is valuable, no doubt, but certainly I have learned sitting on and being part of the task force for Juneteenth, I have learned more about Juneteenth being involved than I ever knew before. So it was pretty important for me to make sure we included that educational piece to that day. So we all learn more about that. That's how we don't, we get better and grow and don't repeat the same mistakes. So really good job on that. And I love the direction that's headed. Really good feedback from the entire team. So both Susie and Corey, great job in leading that. Any other questions about the update from EV or promotions committee? And one point on the DDA booth at the concerts, there was a fair amount of discussion around this isn't for businesses to hawk their wares, even though they can be a retail business. This is really about businesses there talking about equality and diversity and inclusion when it comes to Lathrup Village and really representing. So having a selection process about what businesses get included based on their involvement in the community. So not just, hey, we need to sell cell phones or wigs or something, but really talk to us about how you're helping enrich the entire downtown development authority. So really good discussion. And then I don't know, Corey, weren't we going to talk about buying some tents or something, or is that coming later? Or Susie, do you remember?
Yeah. Okay.
We did talk, that did come up. Chris actually sent me something today that just happened to pop into his email, tents and branded tents. So we have some shopping to do and pricing out, and we'll bring that to you guys. I'm gonna guess in the new fiscal year.
Yeah, with the thought in mind that we need to continue to brand both the DDA and the city and our logo across all these events, so we start to build some brand awareness for what we're doing and how we're doing it. So they'll start to associate that. So, all right.
Question, Dan, quick question for you though. If you're saying that the business can say what they're doing for the DDA, or not the DDA, but to promote the city, that's a tough spot for the business to be in. I mean,
not promote, yeah, not.
You guys, yes, I can see you making a claim to that, but that's a tough spot for some of the other businesses to be in.
Yeah, maybe I misspoke. It wasn't to promote the city, it was to promote their actions in their business that relate to making the city a better place. Like, we provide a service. Yeah, so not just, and I'll give you an example, and really not meant to point at any one corporation, but big cell phone company comes in and says, we're going to come to your event and only do promotions on our data call plan, but they're not connected to our downtown, enrichment at all. That would be the versus, a mom and pop party store helping people out in our community kind of thing. That's all that the committee was thinking, that, we just don't want to make this turn into I'm there to sell cell phones. So.
Right, exactly.
Okay, cool. All right. Really good. Any other questions for committee reports? All right, good job, guys. Moving on to March code enforcement.
We included in your packet is the enforcements that Rami has done for the month of March. I mean, some of these, there's a mix of residential and commercial in here. So we're continuing to make sure that we refine the reports to make sure that we're just getting the commercial addresses. But Rami's out there. He's been making his presence known again, which is good. We've also sent out, one of the things that I know has come up at council is the excessive amount of debris along Southfield Road. And this didn't really make it into your packets, so I'll just talk about it here. We did send out a letter to all of the businesses along Southfield Road, asking them to clean up their properties as part of, and we coupled it with the spring into self-care, saying, our business or your properties need just as much TLC as your body. And so we're having a month-long, or I'm sorry, not a month-long, we're having a week-long corridor cleanup specifically for the businesses. And this coincides with the Adaptive Road program, spring cleanup program dates from the road commission. So this was just for the businesses. They have a week to clean up all that trash. It's gross. I walked the corridor with the road commission earlier this week. And so I've already talked to Rami. Anybody that has cleaned up by the 26th, next Monday or a week from Monday, start, getting them for their violations. So, but all in all, Rami's doing a great job. He's also been out there. He and I have been out there marking sidewalks. So if you start seeing some hot pink paint, that's what it is, for the sidewalk replacement program. So we'll continue to provide these reports on a monthly basis. Is there any questions about what's in here? Things that you would like to see differently? Any comments?
That's good.
Regarding the sidewalk replacement again, refresh my memory on that. So if your sidewalk is marked with an X, that's going to be replaced and you're obligated to foot the cost. Is that correct?
Essentially, there's a series of codes that we're using, A, B, D, E. There's a series of codes, and each code has an associated fix to it, right? So if you have a B, that stands for cracked or broken, and so that slab or flag will be replaced. Okay, we'll see in a minute. So then, there you may see A is what's considered a stubber, right? And that would be, and that may mean that your flag will have to be replaced depending on how large it is. That may mean that they do. And I'm still figuring out exactly what all this means, but they may do a horizontal grind and just fix part of it. They may do a saw cut, so there's a couple different ways to fix it. Just kind of grind it down, but the long and short of it is it will get fixed, and then we're going to be providing estimates once we've gone through and marked all those sidewalks. And this is not just for Southfield Road. This year, the entire sidewalk replacement program is focusing on the neighborhood south of 696 and the entire Southfield corridor. So once we've marked all of those sidewalks, our engineering contractor or our engineering consultants, will provide estimates, quantity estimates to the contractor, blah, blah, blah. Estimates will go out to all those property owners. And then work is estimated to begin in July or August. And then in October, you'll get a final bill for the work that was actually done, right? So for example, if we went out and said, oh, this just needs to be like a horizontal grind, right? And just kind of shave it off. And the contractor gets out there and realizes, actually, we need to replace this because there's more damage there than anticipated. You know, you'll get charged for the actual replacement, or vice versa. Maybe we said they need to do a replacement and it just needs to be ground down. So that's the long and short of it, more on the long side, sorry.
Well, it's been a lot of years since we've had a replacement program, so long overdue.
Right.
All right. Any other questions around large code enforcement? If not, Susie, just roll right into your update.
All right, well, so we kind of touched on this a little bit, and I guess it should have been a fail on the agenda this week. I should have probably included this as like a side note, and it will kind of feed into that our alleyway. But as part of the sidewalk replacement program, there are going to be some sections where they're not privately owned. They're DDA. It's the responsibility of the DDA or the city, right? It's generally those few sidewalk slabs that are immediately adjacent to the road, where you would see they're called dimple pads, the little red pads with the dots. You know, obviously that's an ADA issue. And so we're going to need to replace those, particularly in the south end, since there's some additional road commission work that's planned for 2024, and they will take care of the ADA ramps on between 11 and 12, but we're going to be responsible for everything south of 696. So I'll have to get you, again, once Rami and I finish marking some sidewalks, I'll have a better estimate of what our responsibility costs will be for that. So just want to kind of give you that brief update there.
Just so I'm clear, are those, you use the word replace, are there current ADA sidewalks there that are crumbling, or they don't exist today?
Yes, to both. It's more so that they don't exist. And we haven't done a full assessment just yet of those particular locations south of 696, but yeah, most of it is just that they don't exist, or there's teeny tiny dimple pads that are not up to code anymore, right? So if we're out there, we may as well get to it. So let's see, things that Corey maybe didn't touch on in her updates that are in here. We are doing our spring roll, which is going to be a tour of the bike route network. That's planned for Saturday, June 5th, from 9 to 12. We're working with the Recreation Advisory Committee on that, so we're still more details to follow. We're gonna
an actual bike trip, like people are gonna get on their bikes and go check it out.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be like high adventure, because construction is also going to be happening in the city at that point for road repaving. So while the bike route doesn't necessarily, it's possible we may run into some necessary detours along on the west side of the city along Santa Barbara. It'll be high road adventures, right? So and all of that bike route signage and pavement marking work is going to be happening in the month of May, right? So so stay tuned for more information about that. We do have some commercial properties that we've got work's happening. We have a new Life Center MRI business that's going to be locating at the former staffing agency at 27215 Southfield Road. So that's just north of, on the northwest corner of Sunnybrook. So that's happening. Discount Tire is going before the Zoning Board of Appeals on Monday to request a non-conforming use determination. And their ultimate goal is to expand their employee parking to overall improve the circulation on their site. And they are going to be they intend to construct a small addition for dead tire storage, which has been a blighting issue for them and the neighbors for quite some time. So that's happening. Also, we got, and I don't know much about it, but this is exciting. It sounds like we're getting a new restaurant, Ruby Lee's Honey Chicken and Shrimp, where the Happy's Pizza used to be. So, we just got their sign application. Like I said, I don't know much about them just yet.
I like the sound of it.
Right. I know it sounds yummy. So stay tuned. And then I've been speaking to another gentleman about improvements that he's going to be making to the former gin cleaners for a physical therapy office. And, there still continues to be interest from the cannabis industry peeps. And Planning Commission will be reviewing updated draft ordinance language on Tuesday, April 20th. I promise you that was just a mere coincidence that it's on 4/20. But I will send you all the link to their agenda packet, and I encourage you to tune in to listen to that conversation and provide, any sort of feedback you might have. Right now, the proposal is to, it's not much different than when we talked about in November. It would be in the mixed use and the commercial vehicular districts. So that's what's planned for them. City Council will be reviewing the comprehensive plan and releasing it for the 62-day public comment period on Monday. So that's also exciting. And then we can start cranking through those implementation strategies. I touched on the infrastructure stuff. There's a lot of work happening. We've got the sidewalk replacement program. We've got water mains being worked on this year. We've got paving happening. Paving starts at the beginning. Everything starts in May, basically. Everything starts in May. So we have lead service line excavations and verifications and replacements happening. So a lot of work is occurring. So and Corey has done a really good job of updating the city's website to include all that information. So if you have any questions, let me know. And then here, this is kind of exciting. I met with the road commission earlier this week on Wednesday, I think it was. We walked the corridor. They have plans to do some road work and ditching work in 2024. They got some federal funds to make this happen. And so we're still, like I said, we walked the corridor, we saw some issues that definitely need to be identified and resolved, I should say. We identified 3 spots where pedestrian crossings would be good. And so, I don't necessarily expect to hear anything from them from a design perspective for another 6 months, to be honest with you. But these are meant to be interim solutions until funds can be secured for the ultimate reconstruction of the corridor. So, so that's kind of where we're at with them.
Susie, what's being paved?
Oh, what's being paved? Oh my goodness, what's being paved? Allow me to pull
I
out.
mean,
my map.
in general, is it residential streets, alleyways, both?
That was my question also. I was planning to ask you that question. Thanks, Deb.
Residential streets. So, and I can send you my happy map. It's color coded. Not that you can see the colors as I hold that up, because that was not intelligent of me. But so the bulk of the work, there's going to be some work over on, we've got some work on a Villa and Glenwood and Sunset. Santa Barbara, a lot of work is happening over there. And into like the side streets. We've got San Quentin and San Diego Bungalow. So the fixes are a little different, and I don't have all the information right here in front of me, but some roads are going to be the phase 1 roads, and you'll see in the, I'll send you the email, or I'll send you the map, but so those are mostly going to be what they call mill and fill. So they're just kind of grind off that top 3 inches and then put new asphalt in there. Then there's going to be kind of like a medium level of reconstruction, right? It's not nearly as intense. They're going to rip off the pavement, regrade the aggregate that's already there, you know, pave over it. And then there's Santa Barbara, like a large chunk of Santa Barbara is going to be fully reconstructed, right? So rip out the pavement, rip out the aggregate, redo the whole 9 yards and lay that down. So I realize that's the very quick and dirty of it all, but
That's all I wanted.
yep.
Are residents that are inclined to redo their driveway going to be allowed to contract with the same company to simultaneously have them resurface their driveway?
You can certainly talk to the contractor about it. Limited amounts of approach work will be done as part of this, like up 3 feet, the first 3 feet will be included within the paving contracts, and it would be like a like for like replacement, right? So if you have an asphalt approach, it will be replaced with asphalt, concrete with concrete. But ultimately, if you would like to have your driveway redone, that is going to be up to you to.
Well, I just know
work with
that
the
there's a number of
contractor.
people that would like to, and
Yes.
they're reluctant to until this paving project goes through, because when they do municipal paving, it doesn't often tie in nicely with
Right.
this residential paving job. So people are postponing maintaining their driveways until this happens so they can tie it in nice. But if this
Right.
contractor would do it with a separate contract with these people, it would be seamless.
Yes.
And simultaneous, so.
And yes, that's probably been the primary question I've been fielding all week is these, I mean, literally just sent letters out. So that has been the primary question. Can we have the contractor do it? And so, yep, feel free to work that out directly.
So this notice that is going out is going to give that contact information then, Susie?
I don't believe that has their contact information, but the contractor will be providing notice to those property owners that are included within, they're going to be providing notice to them and reaching out to them. Let's see, do we have that in there? We have the name of the contractor in there. I don't believe we have. We do not have the contact information for the contractor in the letter that was sent out, and that was just to those on the streets having work done, but I'll be able to get that information to anyone that's interested. So, and actually I have a separate email set up for those questions at ciprojects@lathrupvillage.org. So I'll include that as well when I send out the map, and you can feel free to pass it along.
Thank you.
That's exciting. Yeah, it would make perfect sense to, and I'm sure the contractor gets that all the time, Brian, so I'm sure he's gonna be, they're gonna be knocking on doors saying, hey, we're here. They're there, they got the trucks and the equipment, so that'd be cool.
Well, actually, my experience with cement contractors is they're so busy and really hard to find.
Yeah, if they're there, that's half the battle, right?
Right, exactly.
I mean, it took me almost a year to get someone out.
Yep.
Yeah, it's, they're pretty jammed, so.
All right.
I have a question, Susie.
Yeah.
Probably this is for Pamela. You know, I just opened the packet and on the page 10th, sorry, page number 10, you know, the accounts payable, is this all property taxes? Because I don't see my business in here, or this is from the previous year that they owe to the city.
I guess I'm not understanding what you're asking. On page 10, okay.
Yeah, you know, all these different businesses listed. And against those businesses, there is a amount that is owed. Is that the property taxes? The accounts payable.
Yeah. Are you talking about page 8?
Is it 8? Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it is 8.
Those are actually, no, that is not property taxes. That is there was grants given out.
Oh,
to,
for the
different
restaurants.
businesses, huh?
Those are for the restaurants,
For
yeah.
the restaurants, for the grants that were given out.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's those are all accounts payables that we paid to companies or businesses or things like that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Grant awards. All right. Any other questions for the illustrious Miss Steck? All right. Susie, I don't know that we have any old business, right?
No old business.
All right, hearing none, let's move to new business, which we have in our packets, item 8A, B, and C. So let's start with 8A, the alley assessment and scope of work proposal.
So you may recall back in October, we had a conversation. It was in particular regards to a property across the street that was looking to redo their, across the street from City Hall, sorry. They was looking to redo their parking lot, but their alleyway was in horrible shape and, you know, what are you guys gonna do about it? So we talked in that meeting about that not being an exclusive instance of alleys needing repair, and how we'd ultimately like to get, you have an alleyway feasibility analysis or analysis and feasibility study conducted by the city's engineers to really help us figure out what is the real state of all of our alleyways and what kind of improvements need to be done so that we can actually create a program to maintain our alleys and budget accordingly. And so I have, so included in your packet, so we've got a couple pictures just to indicate how bad our approaches really are, right? I mean, this is off of Sunnybrook, between Sunnybrook and Cambridge. It's and really the pictures don't do it justice. That would probably, those ruts, those are from the garbage trucks. I know I engage in hyperbole a lot, but I would probably be up to my ankles in those ruts. They're terrible. So I took these pictures actually when I was out with the engineer, and I said, we need to get this study done. And so he has, so following those pictures is his proposal for assessing all of our alleys. It's his recommendation actually that we get this done sooner rather than later, because if we don't get to this now, he's not going to be able to, he's so booked out, he's not actually going to be able to get a crew in here to do it until the fall. So this generally outlines what they would be doing for us. And for, for a grand total of just over $6,000. And then I also included a sample report. This is what they've done for Ferndale. And so this is what we'd get a similar product from him, and then we could start moving forward accordingly in addressing our much needed maintenance issues.
Okay. I have a couple questions.
Sure.
I am certainly not a road expert, but was this pavement at one time, or was it gravel? Or do we know?
Well, it's kind of hard to tell. Let's see, that first picture, there's actually asphalt there. And our engineer's name is Scott. Scott's not, he's not a small dude. He's not a big dude, but he's an average sized dude. And there is a mound there. I don't know if you can really see it. Like I can zoom in, there's like a mound of asphalt right there. And I'm not kidding you. He stepped on it and the whole thing moved.
Okay, all right. So it's just beyond repair. Obviously.
Yeah. And actually, I've asked him, and I should have included, but we didn't have an official quote from them. I've actually asked him to talk to the paving contractors to see if they could include this in their work. I mean, it's
Okay,
so
if they're going to be here anyhow, right? If they're going to be doing this, why wouldn't we, at least get a quote on that?
So that he's already provided it. He's already provided it to me. It would be $5,000 or $15,000 to do both of those approaches.
Whoa.
I think that's pretty darn fair, to be honest with you.
You think?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's not just running pavement over it. It sounds to me
No.
like they're gonna have to.
No,
prepare
there's going to be some work.
All right, so, and I'll have, the last question I had is, this $6,000, this is to tell us what needs to be repaired or what needs to be repaired and how much it's gonna cost us.
What's going to be, what needs to be repaired. It's going to it'll give us a rating system, right? Like these are good, bad, ugly. It'll give us that rating so we can prioritize. It'll tell us what the repairs should be, and then we'll be able to get from him an estimate of what what the appropriate repairs would be.
There's 34 segments.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if that one costs 15 and there's 34 of them,
I
Yeah.
mean,
I can do the math.
Are
Well,
we,
not all of them are that bad though. I mean, you have to, and we may be able to get, this is just their estimate. Like, it could be less.
he's done this for a very long time though.
Yeah.
His,
Yeah. It works out to be about, $7,500 per approach.
Yeah, we definitely discussed knowing exactly what the state of it was. And so I think, at least in my humble opinion, I think the study of that and telling us what the exact expense is worth $6,000, I would imagine, but love to hear questions from the team.
yeah, I tend to think it probably is worth it too. But I do want to ask we would only be seeking one company's assessment? Is that right?
Yes, this is the
Because it's
city's
gonna cost-
engineer.
Yeah.
Right. This is, we'd just be adding on to a contract that we already have with him, right?
Okay.
Any other questions from the group or concerns? Cheryl?
Similar to the road, sorry, they're drilling something outside my door. Once these are improved, it seems like it would make sense for the DDA and or city to be looking at what's needed for ongoing maintenance so they don't deteriorate to this condition.
Mhm.
And so they have a longer life.
Okay, makes sense.
I think it would be awful to do a major infrastructure project all around the city and leave these ugly. So
Yeah.
we need to have that be a cohesive repair.
Okay.
Any other
Awesome.
concerns?
So
We
I need,
Prove that?
yes, I need a motion to accept this proposal and move forward with the alley assessment. And then if you're all in agreement about repairing, making these repairs to those two particular approaches, I need authorization to have its Asphalt Specialist Inc., ASI. They're doing all the pavement work in the city. I would need authorization to have them do that work as well.
So you want one motion or two motions?
Two motion.
Yeah. They should do those two separate motions.
One more question. In your opinion, is this the worst one?
Honestly, I don't know. That's pretty bad.
Right.
Is it the worst? I don't know. I don't know. I'm still working on my on-the-job civil engineering.
Well, the basis wasn't like, is there one worse or better? My basis would be like, well, if we're gonna fix this one right now, is there another one that's just as bad somewhere that somebody's gonna point to and go, well, why did you fix that one? Why didn't you fix that one too? That's all. And I think that's what the study does, is it rates all of those to say, hey, this is the immediate, that's the interim. I don't know. I don't travel these alleyways, but if my house was here and I got it fixed, I'd be like, yay. But if there was one 3 blocks down and said, in the same district, and said, no, this one's just as bad, that's my only concern. I'm all for fixing them, but.
So for that reason, Dan, I kind of see making these as two separate motions. And do we want to proceed with their own? Or wait and get the info?
Well, it certainly makes, we don't have all the information to make that decision, I don't think. I mean, it makes sense to do it now. The guy's there, the company's there. Do we know, I mean, who told us it was 15? Was that the company or was that the engineer?
Engineer.
Okay, all right. Do we don't know then what they're gonna
That's great.
charge us?
Yeah, so you can button that up though, Susie.
We can work on buttoning it up.
Okay, so we would approve it and then you would kind of detail that out.
And if you want, I mean, I know that he's I know we need to be able to tell the paving contractors sooner rather than later. We could probably push it off just a little bit until May, and I can get more information if that would make you more comfortable.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in delaying it, because I think hopefully nobody's gonna do it cheaper than the person that's on site, you know, so. I'm all for, and it sounds like the group maybe we can have a vote here for approving the study. Let's do that one first. So we can get a motion to approve the actual study by Gifford Webster. Motion from Bobby in a second.
Second.
From Pam. So roll call vote. Everybody changed orders here. So Cheryl,
Yes.
Pam,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Shyla,
Yes,
Bobby,
Yes.
and Mayor Garrett,
Yes.
and Dan, yes. So we have unanimously approved the expenditure for the study of our alleyways by Gifford Webster. And then the next motion we would look for is for the authorization for our director to looking for the number again, to approve the expenditure for repairing, what is the name of that alleyway?
The alleyway between, it's the alleyway on the east side of Southfield Road between Sunnybrook and Cambridge.
So we would look for a motion to approve up to, what was that number, Susie?
$15,000.
$15,000 for the complete rebuild and repair of the alleyway access between Sunnybrook and Cambridge.
So moved.
Pam, and a second? Brian, I think is going.
A second.
Brian seconds. Awesome. So let's get a roll call vote. Cheryl,
Yes,
Pam,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Shyla,
Yes,
Bobby,
Yes.
Mayor Garrett,
Yes.
and Dan. So moved.
I will keep you guys updated. And if something changes, then you'll hear about it for sure,
Can't wait to see the before and after pictures. That's gonna be awesome.
right?
All right. Item B.
Right, so those are the facade improvement programs also discussed back in October. At the same time that we had the alleyway discussion. We talked about how our facade improvement program, though it is fantastic, nobody ever uses it. And what can we do to better utilize the program, encourage people to continue making improvements to their properties, and also address some of these smaller alleyway fixes or smaller parking lot fixes. And so you now have before you the facade improvement and site beautification grant program guidelines. So really the biggest changes is that this program would now allow minor improvements to your parking lot or landscaping needs. So maybe you need to pin your bumper blocks down. Maybe you need to, seal coat and restripe your parking lot. Maybe you do have some potholes that you would like fixed in the alleyway. And maybe that's all you need. Or in your parking lot or vice versa. So those improvements those activities have been added as eligible activities under this program. The facade, anything to the building would still be that up to $10,000. Site improvements like the parking lots and landscaping, that would also be matched, 50-50 match, up to $2,500. We did want to make a distinction between those kinds of improvements and the facade, right? So, and I truthfully, I didn't know if you guys wanted to tackle this, if we wanted to tackle this at the EV committee level, but I figured I'd bring it to you instead. I already have one property owner that is definitely interested in using this for improvements to his parking lot, and another that would be interested in using it for improvements to his landscaping. So overall, I think that this would better utilize the funds we have allocated and further our goals to visually enhance the corridor. So
I think it's a terrific idea. Yeah, fully.
okay, I'll go ahead and be part of this program too.
all right, so now we got 3. Woo!
Right?
Rami called me the other day to pin down a couple of my blocks. I did the one between the one that I share with Jagged Fork.
Mm-hmm.
They had moved the blocks and I fixed it, and I have a couple of more. He said that I have to take care of, and also landscaping. So should I send you an email?
I will send, now that once you guys approve the grant changes, I will send you,
Okay.
I'll send you this is a separate application. We can go from there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, we need to approve this, Susie.
Yes, please.
So,
I would feel more comfortable if we have a motion to approve the changes.
Yeah, definitely, the program scope and eligibility on the front pretty much lays out what's improved, and then the agreement on the back kind of tells you, you can, it looks like you can stack these, so you can do both at the same time, I guess, and in conjunction, I guess, given that it fits the parameters. So if there's no more questions, looking for a motion to approve the changes to the Facade improvement and site beautification grant program guidelines.
I'll make the motion.
Mayor Garrett, and support from,
I'll second it, Dan.
I think it was Bobby first, so Mayor Garrett and Bobby, and then roll call vote, Pam. Oh, is you drinking any water there?
Yes.
And Brian,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes,
Shyla,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
and Mayor Garrett.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. And it gets old. And Dan, yes. So motion carried. Go spend some money.
Yes. All right. Speaking of spending money, our budget. It's beautiful. I gotta say, it's beautiful. It's got pictures and everything. No, I included, this is our last big discussion item of the day. Nothing. I don't think anything has changed since what I proposed to you as a draft last month. But this is the more descriptive version of our budget. And I will skip straight down to our wonderful line items. I mean, essentially, we're going to continue. We're going to continue building upon what we've been doing. I think for as awful as the pandemic has been on everybody, I really think that it has helped us as a board to focus on our priorities and really help us figure out what we want to do and how we want to move forward. We have, I think we're really starting to build some great momentum with the programs that we have going on, even though poor Corey's out there at Fireside Friday, and I don't think anybody else showed up today. We are the hottest place for the under 5 lunch crowd. So that's always exciting. Hey, engage those little people in the planning. But you know, I mean, that program, the Live in LV, I don't know if anyone had an opportunity to check out the any of the Main Street conference sessions, but you know, they were talking about your digital footprint and your impact and how can you make a difference. And they were talking videos was one of the things that they were highlighting, and how really that's like the next best thing right now is if you can't get together in person, then by all means do a video. And those we've been getting some really great responses. So really our budget is just building upon those things that we've started doing in this past year. Heavy emphasis on the streetscaping and the beautification. We're going to be planting almost 50 hanging baskets. We've got our, the planters. We've started talking about, improving the landscaping around City Hall. We've got our, you guys established the beautification task force. So really moving forward on enhancing that visual appeal. That's what you guys, what we've been talking about since I started. And I know you've been talking about it since even before I started. So really, again, making those and trying to have a monthly event and continuously trying to build upon our promotion effort of the corridor, of our businesses, of the organization as a whole. So there is, in terms of revenue, I did not budget for any changes this year. Part of this is due to the fact that I know, like Pam mentioned at the outset of our meeting, we're not going to get our final revenue figures from the county until next month. So, assuming that all things stay the same, which I know they haven't, but so I'm projecting that we're going to have the same, same revenue generated this year. I mean, we did have some improvements that should hopefully positively impact our bottom line with Cernow's redevelopment of the Happy's Plaza down the way. And with all the projects that I was telling you about earlier, I imagine that we will see at least a small bump in revenue as the years to come. And who knows what's going to happen with cannabis. That'll have, if we decide to move forward as a community with that, that's going to be a guaranteed boon to the budget. Some of the numbers that these guys are talking about are a little insane. So I'm projecting we keep, right around 300,000 for our revenues. The expenditures, what I've done here is I've lined up all of the expenses that we discussed and agreed upon in that cost share agreement. All of those are now lined up with our budget and included within that. We do have, we're going to be hiring a part-time crew to help with the maintenance after talking with Corey and really figuring out the scope of what we would need done for those hanging flower baskets and maintenance of the landscaping beds period, and all the things that I keep saying, hey, Corey, will you please do this? And hey, Corey, we need to do this. We thought it best to bring on 2 part-time individuals. So that's, that was not funded this last year, but we're going to make sure that that's in the budget for the upcoming fiscal year. And really the biggest shifts have been just to, again, align things in a more appropriate category, right? So any specific questions that you all have? Again, this is not incredibly different from what you saw at the last meeting in draft form.
At what point do we start to receive a lot of pressure because we have such a large fund balance? And I see this year our expenditures and revenues are aligned, but we carry this large surplus, and that's tax dollars that are just sitting in park. And when do we get grief for that?
Well, I guess grief from who, but that as part of our reporting requirements to the state, we are, I mean, we can carry this fund balance, but we have to make sure that we explicitly state why we're carrying this fund balance. And we have always said that we're carrying this fund balance for the improvements to be made to Southfield Road. And I promise you, we're going to spend it. So when I walked with the walked the corridor with the road commission, what they're proposing, and they call it a 3R project, and it is not the typical recycling 3Rs. But I can't remember what they all are. But the long and short of it is that we would be on the hook for approximately, I think it's $500,000 between the city and the DDA for the match for that. And quite frankly, we could take it straight out of the DDA. And so don't worry, we're going to spend it down. And then with that, once we have this alleyway assessment, I mean, clearly those alleyways, the repairs aren't going to be cheap, and I think that, and part of the reason that these reporting requirements is in place is so we're not, so we can justify why are we holding on to this. And the state has said, if you don't have a justifiable reason for maintaining this kind of fund balance and not spending it, you're going to have to give it back. So I certainly don't want us to put us in that position,
No.
but I think very shortly we're going to see that fund balance start to to be depleted for all the right reasons.
Yeah, and I think.
Excellent.
Cheryl's got a comment for us too.
Thanks. I have two. One, looking at the bottom line. What page? I scrolled away from it. I'm sorry. On page 63. No, where was that at? Anyway, it showed a negative fund balance, I thought.
On
Page
the,
62.
Yes, yeah. On page 63, if you look at the projected revenues of 297 and the expenditures of 304, so that would leave you with and going into your fund balance in theory.
yes.
So I would recommend increasing the revenues because that was a very conservative, and I understand it, approach. But I think increasing it at least to 300. Is there any reason to think that it would be less?
I don't think so, but
Oh, wasn't the increase into 2021, wasn't the extension here on the credit union? Wasn't that
Yes.
is that a one-time event, or just now is that a reoccurring?
I mean, it'll be well, it's a one-time bump, but that bump, and Pam, correct me if I say this wrong, it's a one-time bump, but the bump will be
It's now a new level.
theoretically maintained, right?
It'll still go up but it's only gonna go up per whatever the increase is, either 5% or cost of living.
So, but it's not going to be less than the 308 that we actually have as of.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. If we increase the revenue amount based on the tax capture to 300 from the 255, at least the bottom line wouldn't appear to be a deficit spending situation.
Okay. So. Right, increase the revenue amount to.
So just increase your estimate to cover at least the expenditure.
Yes.
Okay, so would you feel more comfortable if I raised the estimated revenue amount then to just $305,000?
Sure. Yeah. And then my second one, because council is about to approve designations within fund balance, although it really applies to general fund, it could be applicable to you as well as the DDA. But if as part of your budget, you designate a dollar amount of your fund balance for the Southfield Road, at least is kind of committed more formally. I don't know what that dollar amount would be, but you would want to leave a fund balance of least 30% of your operating.
So your suggestion would be to earmark it somehow in their
Yeah.
line item to,
Yes,
this is why we're holding on to that money.
right.
Right answer. And certainly I think for longevity's sake, we've asked that a couple of questions even since I've been here. How much is that again? What is that going to cost us? What are we going to spend this on? So that's probably a pretty good suggestion too. So.
And I don't think it's a situation where you can't move it if another project came up, but at least it identifies that that is truly your intention based on your budget.
So I would say, I mean, so I would say just based on the estimate, which I think that's a good idea. I would say we would want to maybe earmark between $500,000 and $750,000 for Southfield Road. I think that would be good.
Yeah.
I think the 750 is reasonable. That's half.
And
We
then,
get our, till we get our alleyway estimate back.
Yeah.
We'll all be backing off that number.
And then if we wanted to allocate, a reserve rather, 30% of our annual operating budget for just as a reserve, operating reserves, that would be $91,500. So
That reflects a very solid financial condition for the DDA district.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
That would reflect a very solid financial position for the DDA district and your fund.
And I think it will also give us, I think maybe to Brian's point, because I missed part of it, but give us the freedom to go out and start investing in our development of the downtown authority area and not worry about, are we gonna have enough for, you know, we've pointed to it and say, no, we've got it set aside. Now we're gonna go out and let's start using it what it's for intended. And that's improvement, so.
Well, and we talked briefly last month, and I mean, it's clearly something I would need to learn a whole lot more about, but we talked about the idea of like, what if we need to bond? Right, and I feel like, you know, like Cheryl said, this puts us in a really strong position. And so if we needed to move, if we decided we needed to move forward on bonding anything, I imagine this would help us out significantly to say that, hey, we have a plan for these funds and this is how we've, you know, we've allocated for it. So, you know, being good future planners. So I think what we could do is, if you're, you know, we can, I would have someone make a motion to adopt this budget with the 3 modifications. And then we can forward on to council for their, to be included in their public hearings, which I know I saw are gonna be in May, right, Cheryl? So we can adopt with those 3 modifications to increase the estimated revenue amount to $305,000, designate $750,000 for improvements to future improvements to Southfield Road, and a 30% reserve, which amounts to $91,500 for operating reserves. Make that motion and then to adopt and then forward to council for inclusion in their public hearings and approval.
I'll make a motion.
Second,
Pam, all in favor, so Cheryl,
Yes.
Pam,
yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Shyla,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
Mayor Garrett,
Yes.
and Dan Sugg, yes.
right.
Good job. All right. Well, referring to the agenda, that leaves it for any public comments.
I don't know if anybody saw Corey's, oh, no, Corey just sent that to me. Mark Watts had a medical emergency, so that's why he is not with us today. I don't know if you want to count that as excused. I know we didn't get it until during the meeting, but I'll leave that to your discretion if you guys want to.
Seems like an excellent excuse
Obviously,
to
yeah.
me.
Right, so I have not heard back from, I haven't heard from Fred, but at least for Mark, if you guys want to make a belatedly excused.
Can I get a motion to excuse Mark Watts and, are we saying and Fred or no Fred?
No, Fred.
Yeah, all right, so I need a motion to excuse Mark Watts from this DDA meeting
I'll be happy to do that, Dan.
and support
Support.
from Brian. Let's take a vote. Cheryl,
Yes.
Pam,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Shyla,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
Mayor Garrett,
Yes.
and Dan Sugg. So all in favor of now, carry the motion to excuse Mark Watts, his absence today. So any public comment before we close the meeting? I don't see any public attendees. So
I see no public attendees either.
All right,
If there's one
Before we,
thing I could add before you
before
do
we say
adjourn.
goodbye, I'm sorry, go ahead, Cheryl.
Oh, I just wanted to add one thing I forgot to mention earlier in the meeting. The city was getting the bonds for the capital improvement projects as well as the street improvements. And we were with Standard & Poor's and received notification yesterday that we received a AA bond rating. So that's pretty strong, especially for a small community like Lathrup. So we're very proud of that. And those projects are moving forward.
very cool. Good
Excellent.
news. Brian?
I'm just curious, I know we can't discuss it here, but I'm wondering, is there a plan to have another update with the city and the DDA on the pending lawsuit with the council where we can discuss it?
You know, we've not discussed it internally, but I can certainly touch base with Cheryl and the attorneys, and I think we can make that happen.
Well, I mean, if there's been no real
If there's something to update.
one way or the other, we don't need to do it. But if there's been any information that's worthy of sharing, I certainly would like to hear what's going on.
Absolutely. And my brain's a little mushy, but I don't think we've gotten an update yet or anything new from them, but I am sure it's about time for us to touch base, like I said, internally with them anyways. So stay tuned, and I will set up, if there is, I will most definitely send out a little doodle notice to see if we can come up with a good date for another combined meeting. So.
All right.
Anyone else?
All right, meeting adjourned.
All right.
Thanks. What's that?
Oh, you raised your hand? I'm sorry, Callie, I didn't see
I
your
didn't
hand
see
raised.
no
I'm
hand.
sorry.
It was a hand in the corner. Anyway.
Cheryl's is still up.
Oh, well, fine. Cheryl's
Go
hand.
ahead, Kelly, what's up?
So Cheryl sent something out earlier today, and I'm not sure if that was for us or if that was for the council regarding the address and the, help me, Cheryl, the address and the name on the building.
Oh, yeah, I know what she's talking about.
We had talked about it, and I agree, we did talk about it amongst this group. And what I'm talking about is basically there is no signage on City Hall that designates that it is Lathrop Village City Hall. And so I was wondering also what happened with that, and can we bring that back up?
I need to follow back up with my guy. I know I reached out to him a while back and said, hey, we still want to do this, man. And I need to follow back up with him. So I just haven't gotten back to Cheryl's email yet, but I'll give him a call and get a move on.
And then also, do you know, it was asked of me today that there's a lot of restaurants that's along Southfield Road that are not open at their normal business hours. And the assumption is that someone has COVID or something like that. Do you know about, like, I know Panera is supposed to be one that had an outbreak of COVID, right?
Yes, Panera had an employee outbreak of COVID. And so they were just going to be shut for their required 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks. So as far as I know, I have not heard from any of our other restaurants about closures due to COVID, but Corey and I can certainly reach out to them directly to make sure that everybody's doing well and that we're all still in business.
And then also, I'm thinking it's our responsibility just to make sure that any of the restaurants are still doing contact listing and that they are operating only at 50%. I had a conference call or meeting yesterday with the Lieutenant Governor and reminded us that there's still some, orders that's out there that I guess a lot of the restaurants are starting to kind of become lax on. So just to make sure that we're tight with our, how many restaurants do we have? 2?
We technically have 8 restaurants, but yes.
Okay, well, I was being facetious, my bad. So if we could just make sure that, these are my suggestion. I'm not asking. This is a suggestion that we should do this. If anyone else sees, I think that's important. We need to do our part to make sure that we can try to contain this spread.
For
So
sure.
here, wouldn't that be the police department? That would be like.
Well, I'm kind of like putting it out there while I'm staring at Cheryl's picture. So I'm like,
I was like, what? I was like,
Turn
do
off
I
your
control the
camera.
police department?
Turn off your camera, Cheryl, quick.
Well, actually, I wasn't even aware of what those requirements are. So I've been following the office protocols and, public buildings protocols. But an educational effort might be worthwhile, because if you're not really attuned to these orders that come through every 48 hours, you really can't stay on top of it. But just to let them know.
It didn't just come through, it just never was taken away. And
I know, but if you don't know that it is not changed, that it's still in effect, because I've been to several restaurants and I haven't seen any of them doing any of that. So.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And I'll also mention that to hire.
Well, I thought they might be just trying to comply with the governor's request that they shut or suspend in-person dining.
Well, I think, and what I call was the governor, the ask was of citizens of the state should try not to dine out in person as much, to try to relax that for the next 2 weeks. That was the ask. There are some, I believe, health orders still out there, to Kelly's point, that do govern bars and restaurants to a certain standard. I don't pretend to know what those are because I'm not in the industry, but I think it was 50% or in some hours. So that's what I think she's referring to is, hey, is anybody checking that? And maybe we need to do that. So the governor, I think, asked us as citizens to hey, you know what, if you can, stay home, don't go out. That was the ask. And then the schools to pause as much as possible.
So just a thought. That's all that I have.
Well, and I think that's an easy one for us to do, and just let them know. I mean, we've been sending out our e-newsletters and say, hey, just a reminder, these are the things that you still need to stay on top of this. And so, don't forget, here's a quick link or something,
All right, so you're gonna get back to us on the sign for the building.
Yeah, I know. I just gotta follow up with that guy again. So.
And Cheryl and Kelly are gonna go visit all the restaurants. All right, perfect. And all right, anything else for the good of the group? Love seeing all your smiling faces. Have a wonderful weekend. And now I adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend.